you miss out on listening to your favourite segment of Sonshine's Table Talk with me, Leah? Well, don't worry. You can catch up now. Oh, Gloria indeed, because it is Wednesday and it is Wellness Wednesday and you are on Sonshine's Table Talk with me, Leah, and I am joined in the studio by the lovely naturopath Mel and also her lovely daughter, Jasmine. Hello. The thing that we all seem to have at many stages of our life, I see all the time, you can't escape it, bloating.
Yes, it's so common, and it's common with women.
Yes.
And I am talking about the digestive side of bloating, not the hormonal side, not PMS today.
Yeah,
Maybe that can be next time.
Good idea, because that's another kettle of fish altogether.
Yes.
We'll go down a rabbit hole.
Which, again, most women will say yes. So
yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of bloating and discomfort.
Yeah, okay.
But specifically, why?
Yes. Well,
I don't just want to say, like, I'm reacting to every food, everything's making me bloated.
Right.
We've got to get down to the root cause, underlying reasons, and whether that's like pain after you've eaten quite high up in the stomach area.
Okay, yeah.
Or whether it's sort of a couple of hours later and lower digestive system and you're actually feeling really gassy and uncomfortable. Yeah, and some people have to adjust their clothing.
Yes, yeah.
Some people don't want to wear a seatbelt on the way home because
because
of the pressure across there. That's really serious. That's saying to me, like, there's inflammation, there's pain, that level of discomfort, and then finding out, look, could it be constipation?
Yes.
Could there be something happening in the upper digestive system, like reflux, or just not even enough stomach acid to start breaking down the food?
Yeah, okay. So it's like figuring out where it is, because that gives you a little bit more insight.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes. And the time of day that it's happening.
Okay.
If it's happening constantly, then we need to start testing.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
The big question I have around bloating is sometimes I think that I'm bloated, and then if I talk to someone else, they say, "Oh, that's not bloat. That you're not bloated." Is there a thing where you can just feel like you are, but then maybe you aren't? Is it ever go the other way? Are you ever like, am I just full and I don't know the difference between full and bloating? Or?
Okay, so when you're full, the difference is that sort of, wow, I just ate a big meal. Okay, I can sort of feel that in my digestive system. Bloating tends to have a lot more of the discomfort with it.
Sure, okay.
And then maybe a lot of burping, or you're feeling really gassy.
Okay.
And for someone, that could be as simple as every morning they're having a cup of coffee and all of a sudden they're bloated afterwards.
Yeah, wow.
And I'd be saying, hang on, is there some lactose there? Is there a food intolerance that could be causing that?
Yeah, right.
Or other people say to me, whenever I eat certain vegetables like the cruciferous vegetables, but that's actually beneficial. You know, that's a high fibre. Oh. You just need to eat smaller amounts of it.
Yeah, right, okay.
You know, you are likely to get a little bit of gas. It's a good fibre. It's doing great things for your liver, like the broccoli sprouts in particular.
Yeah.
Even when we look at the FODMAPs, all those foods, they're beneficial for the body.
Yeah, okay.
They're providing that good bacteria, but in some cases they're being fermented, you know, out of control. And then the inflammation that goes with it can cause a lot of other health issues, which is when I'm saying, okay, we need to address this.
Yeah, okay, amazing. We're going to go to a song, but Naturopath Mel is with us this whole hour, so you can text in your questions, or, just let us know, is bloating something that you suffer with? You can text us in on 0429 985 985. But right now, we're going to go to Love Is Everything You Need by Unspoken.
That down mechanically, and then some other digestion does begin in the mouth. Then the stomach is starting to break that down, and we need it to be acidic. So you might have heard of people saying have a bit of apple cider vinegar before food. That helps to increase the acidity in the stomach and get the digestive juices flowing. But I like to be quite specific about the parameters here.
Okay, yeah.
If you already have reflux diagnosed and you have stomach ulcers and you've already got burning in your throat, you don't want to be adding this.
No, okay.
Yes. So, but for most people who just say, I want to get some additional benefits naturally, or I want to make sure my stomach is working really well, I would say start off with like half a teaspoon.
Because that stuff's strong.
Yes, it is. So you don't have it straight. So starting at half a teaspoon.
Yeah, okay.
Mixing it in a little bit of water, maybe 50 mils, 100 mils. and then drinking that beforehand. You can increase that slightly, but some people just are a little too enthusiastic, and all of a sudden your throat's burning, right?
Yeah, yes, so it's not good.
Common sense here.
Yeah, great.
And if you're on a medication, not for you yet.
Yeah, great.
But what that does is it just starts the digestive system working.
Yes.
Okay, and it can make a really big difference for some people, and it's got to be a good apple cider vinegar with the mother in it.
Yes,
so that's all the sort of gooey bits.
The floaties down the bottom. Yeah, beautiful.
The cheap white vinegar is for cleaning.
Yeah, okay. That's
not going in your body.
Yeah.
Because we need that hydrochloric acid to be working efficiently in our stomach.
Right.
And when we are stressed...
Yes.
Yeah.
Does not work as well.
And look, there's just these patterns of such busyness in society, and that stress is playing a huge role in impairing our digestive system.
Absolutely. Because you have obviously stress is creating more, does it create more acidity? Is that what can happen, or am I making that up?
As part of other processes that are happening in the body and inflammation that's happening.
Yeah, okay.
The main thing is that we need to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So we can be used to sort of rushing and in the fight or flight, and that's, that is part of life.
Yeah, yeah.
But if that's happening constantly and your body almost takes the habit of being, stressed, and we're losing our breath, and when we're losing our breath, we're not breathing properly, and then oxygen's not getting to the body, and then instead of our brain saying, okay, chatting to, the pancreas and getting the digestive juices flowing, it's in this survival mode.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And then we're holding tension. And then there's constipation, and then or diarrhea, and then that feedback to the brain and the vagus nerve and all this sort of stuff. So, look, that did sound a bit of doom and gloom.
No,
that's not my intention. But I am saying appreciate what you are.
Yeah, okay.
Eating with mindfulness and gratitude, and if you're finding you've got that indigestion and you're getting a bit of bloating, digestive enzymes could be something to try.
Okay.
Because if that makes a difference, that it's not working.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we go down testing, stool testing, functional testing.
Can I ask a question as well around, obviously we said the apple cider vinegar, but then there's also this thing around lemon juice that people are saying, have lemon juice every morning.
Yes.
Is that work the same way or different?
It does work differently, but it is very good still for stimulating the digestive juices.
Right, okay.
But again, so juice of maybe a quarter of a lemon or half a lemon in some warm water, and then waiting a few minutes, because otherwise your stomach's full of water.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
So you need to make sure that enzymes can be getting activated.
Sure, okay.
Then start eating.
Yeah.
Some people want to drink it all day, the lemon water the apple cider vinegar all day, and that, there's a potential there for that all around your teeth to, cause some harm.
Oh, of course, okay.
So I would
just
acidic. Just be cautious with that, but it is a great way to start the day.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. And we've got some messages coming in already. We've got one from Ben from Ellenbrook who says, and no, this is not bloating. They've disappeared, there we go. But since I had my gallbladder out 18 years ago, I've had regular problem with acid reflux. I've been on antacid for 10 years and it helps but hasn't solved the problem. Is there something dietary I can do? Mel, what can we do to help Ben?
Yeah, the thing with the gallbladder is that it does serve a purpose.
Yes.
It's like a storage pouch for bile.
Okay.
So it helps hold the bile, which is what's going to break food down, it's going to aid digestion, and whilst the liver is making the bile, it's the storage in the gallbladder.
Okay.
And again, it's these amazing connections happening in the body when we're eating food. It's going to help break it down.
Yeah, okay.
So without the gallbladder, it's like it drips continuously into the digestive system.
Right, okay.
So it's a really good question here because food choices will make a difference.
Okay, great.
So generally making sure that it's a smaller portion of food that you're eating, and then checking the fat quantity because it's going to be harder to digest. Most of us find if we go out and eat like a fatty fish and chips, we feel nausea.
Yeah,
You know, that sort of, we feel uncomfortable. Or a very heavy, like pasta carbonara, that creamy sort of sauce, and it's just a lot for the body to break down. And it doesn't have any health benefits. I'm going to put that in there.
Yeah, definitely. It's more for a fun meal.
Yes. So making sure that there's small food choices.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you're on these medications, like, you know, he's talking about 18 years of this, we need the stomach acid, but the medications lower that, and often that's protective to stop things like ulcers, and it's a very delicate tissue through the esophagus, and we don't want damage there and the burning sensation there, but we still need acid in the stomach to break the food down, right?
Yeah, right.
So there are things like slippery elm powder, which can be used as a gentle, it's like a demulcent, so it's very soothing and healing to that delicate tissue.
Yeah.
And it gives a lot of relief quite quickly. With medications, it always needs to be taken at least 2 hours away because it can slightly reduce the absorption of some medications and some minerals.
Yeah, okay.
But it is very good if someone's got an empty stomach and they're getting that reflux pain, maybe first thing in the morning.
Yeah, okay.
For Ben, and during the night, people are waking up with burning and pain. Slippery elm powder.
Yeah, beautiful. Because we had a text about that as well, and they asked, what is the benefit of slippery elm powder, and what can we take to increase our digestive enzymes? So, thank you for that text. Because I think obviously that's one that's a great option.
Yes, and look, if you go to a health food store, you can buy slippery elm powder. You mix it up in a little bit of water. It is like, it's kind of a dirt drink.
Yeah, good.
It is bark. It is natural. There's no flavours and things added to that. If I was giving it out in my clinic, I would use a practitioner product that had other things like glutamine in there.
Yeah,
Glutamine's a key healer for intestinal permeability, all the cells through the intestinal system, the digestive system. And I'd look at zinc too, because we need zinc to repair gut lining, to heal the delicate tissue, and zinc is important in stomach health and enzyme production.
Yeah, fantastic. Amazing. We're going to keep answering your messages. We're getting a lot of texts through, which is fantastic. So keep on texting me, 0429 985 985. We've had lots of texts coming in, so thank you very much, everyone who is texting and sharing their thoughts and questions. Barbara says, I used to suffer from acid reflux, but started intermittent fasting. It has helped heaps.
Yes.
What's the situation there?
Fasting's amazing. Fasting gives your digestive system a break. Gives it time to repair, and the research behind it, you know, it indicates we need to be fasting 12 hours a day, so overnight.
Okay.
And then if that goes out to 14 hours, that makes a huge difference. And even just spacing our meals out too. If you're eating constantly, your blood glucose levels are going up, your body's just working very... it's working in overdrive rather than being able to do the repairs.
Yeah, okay. So giving it that break allows it to just sort of reset.
Yes.
So then that's why you're not getting the bloating as much.
Yes.
You do that. Yeah, okay. We also have another person, Nicole, who's texted in, and we've actually got her on the phone now to ask her question. Nicole, welcome to Table Talk. Hello, are you there?
Hi, I'm here.
Hello.
Nicole. You're with Leah and Mel. Did you want to ask Mel your question, Nicole?
Sure. All my life I've pretty much eat nuts and seeds. I love nuts. And I became vegetarian when I was in early 30s.
Yeah.
But lately, maybe in the last couple of years or more, I find I bloat a lot after eating them.
Sure.
And obviously being vegetarian, I sort of worry that I don't want to have to give up nuts and seeds.
Yes, great question, because I think a lot of other people would experience this.
Absolutely.
Those nuts, the seeds, almonds, sunflower seeds are packed with nutrients and protein and good oils as well. But sometimes they can be hard for the body to digest. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad food, but one thing you can do is soak the seeds and nuts.
Okay.
What that does is it softens them, makes it easier for the body to break down. And some of these nuts in particular can harbour like almost anti-nutrients.
Okay.
So when you soak them, it's like deactivating those. So the body takes them up much more easily.
Yeah, sure.
And the same for legumes like lentils.
Okay. Yeah.
Lentils should always be soaked. And if you look at the water and smell the water when you've been soaking them for a few hours, you don't question the process. Like I'm pouring that down the sink. I can see the change that's happening there. So by soaking them, you activate the good nutrients, get rid of those sort of anti-nutrients, and make it easier for the body to break down. So that might help you there. And otherwise, some digestive enzymes might help you as well, Nicole.
Yes. Okay. So how long would you soak them for? Overnight or?
Yes. So you can go online and find very specific hours for each type of food, but I find 6-8 hours is usually fine.
Great. Amazing. Well, hopefully that answers your question, Nicole. Thank you so much for messaging in.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Have a lovely day.
You too. Thanks,
Nicole. That's really important, I think, that soaking. It's funny as well because a lot of the conversation around these activated nuts.
Yes.
That's a whole...
and when you buy milk, that is quite expensive, but it's got activated almonds in it.
Yes, it's because they've been soaked.
So easy for the body to break down.
Yeah,
and really good for the vegetarians out there who are eating quite a lot of these kind of foods.
Yeah, great.
And
when you soak the nuts, though, because obviously they're like mushy, do you then put them in? Like, do you then roast them, or like, is there another process, or do they just dry out and they're fine, or they're not mushy?
It doesn't matter what you do with them afterwards.
Okay.
But look, personally, I'm turning them into nut butters or into milk.
Yeah,
so I don't mind that, or even into raw balls. So
great.
They're already being blended down.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Okay, that's
and
great.
Look, if you're having nuts that are roasted and covered in salt. Not so beneficial. We want to get the raw nuts and raw cashews as well, soaking the cashews.
Yeah, great.
And if you want to get creative, you can be making some great vegan cheesecakes, soaking the cashews, coconut milk in there.
I love all those raw desserts. They're so yummy. But then we're going to get off topic and I'll just start talking about food, which is probably my other love. So maybe we'll do that another time. But we're going to be continuing the conversation with Naturopath Mel and her daughter Jasmine, who is in the studio.
Just smash the mic.
Yeah, it's just lovely. Are you feeling full of knowledge, that is? Well, I hope so, because we're talking about something that feels different, bloating, on Sunshine's Table Talk with Leah. I'm joined by Naturopath Mel and her daughter Jasmine, who are giving us lots of insights into the world of bloating, which I just think you'll be hard past to find anyone who...
at least hasn't experienced once.
Yes, exactly. Yes. It's so common. We've got another text here as well, someone who hasn't left their name.
Yes. So look, it's about a 15-year-old daughter who has regular sort of reflux regurgitation problems, and saying that she's tried sort of some medical intervention and there's been no improvement.
Yeah, sure.
Look, the best advice I can give you here, one thing you can try safely is the slippery elm powder from a health food store. But in this case, if you've already been down some of the medical roads and haven't had any improvements, and this is happening regularly, I'm really concerned for that tissue, firstly, throughout, even up to the throat and the teeth.
Oh, wow.
Because of that acid that's coming up to the mouth. And I'd say see a naturopath because... Personally, I can get really quick results with people.
Yeah, great.
And there's a lot of natural products that are very specific for this, and it helps the body to do what it's meant to do.
Yeah, great.
That's really the core foundation. That's my belief. That's what naturopathy does, is to heal the body, to get to the underlying source, and then to get the body to do what it's meant to do. So breaking down the food.
Yeah, amazing.
But... Yeah, there's a lot of other herbs and nutrients.
Okay, sure.
But I'm quite cautious about recommending them. So look, try the slippery elm.
Yeah.
Speak to a naturopath because it sounds like she'd be in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And some people have, I hear them clearing their throats, and that's their norm. It's like they've almost got a silent cough, and it's that's stomach acid coming up for some people.
Oh, wow.
So we addressed that, and a few weeks later, this cough or this sort of throat clearing that's been happening all day is gone after years.
That's really interesting because, there's so many times I've come across people that are like that, or, a lot of clearing or whatever, and you just think that that's part of their, I don't know, anatomy or the way that they speak or whatever it may be.
Yeah, but there's usually a reason. Or if it's like a sinus drip and the person addresses something for their immune system or gut health, or maybe cutting out an allergy, a food intolerance or allergy like dairy,
Yes.
all of a sudden this drip and this sort of throat clearing
Goes away.
has gone away, and they're breathing better.
Wow.
And life has changed.
Wow.
So
It's amazing as well, I think, how many people... Well, we put up with so much because we think it's normal, and it doesn't have to be. It becomes normal. Yeah, and we don't have to suffer, and we can investigate things and see, is this something I actually do have to put up with? And something that might be niggling, you might realise you don't have to put up with it anymore.
and we've covered the sort of the surface and a lot of stomach issues today. But if it's lower digestion, and we talk about IBS, but it could be something else like small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, so SIBO.
Yeah, okay.
Imbalances, parasites, overgrowth, candida can all cause this bloating.
Yeah, okay.
One way to see if there's candida is to look at your tongue.
Yes, you've done this with me last week, didn't you?
I wasn't going to dob you in. I was just going to say in general. So
you can dob me in, it's fine. Guys, I have a candida problem.
It's very common for women to
Yes.
have that imbalance or to be craving sugar or around their period, which then exacerbates the bloating.
Yes, I'll put my hand up.
And something I look at in my clinic is I like to look at people's eyes, I like to look at their tongues, I look at their skin. And people are quite shy when I say, can I look at your tongue? Like, think of all the dentists and their assistants who are just looking at people's mouths for 7-8 hours a day.
Yeah, yes.
You can tell a lot. When someone puts their tongue out and the tongue's shaking, could be a sign of the nervous system being in overdrive or anxiety. The same with pupil. When I look at someone's iris, if the pupil's pulsating, again, and I can see digestive signs and colours around the eyes. Amazing. And then obviously I back that up with testing.
Yeah, of course. You're
And
not
that-
just you're stabbing in the dark.
No,
I mean,
no.
like, yeah, there is some sort of science there, really. Even
Yes, yeah,
amazing.
and it's just amazing all the different connections in our body.
Yeah.
And digestion starts in the mouth.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's so important.
Yeah, fantastic. We're going to be almost wrapping up this conversation with you, Naturopath Mel. But unfortunately, we've run out of time for all of these conversations around bloating because there's just so much to cover. So thank you very much for coming in. But is there any sort of thing that we can recap, to summarise, to add on?
Look, just eating mindfully.
Yeah.
Making sure that we're getting lots of fibre,
Yeah.
the right fibre for you so you're not constipated.
Yeah.
And herbal teas can help as well.
Yeah,
you know,
great.
peppermint tea can help to calm the digestive system down, some ginger tea as well. But look, always remembering if there's the red flags, if you're in a lot of pain, you need to be seeking help.
Yes.
If this is happening daily, you want to be seeking help as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming in, Mel. We always love having you and your insights. You've been listening to Sunshine's Table Talk with me, Leah. Remember, you can hear me live every single day, Monday to Friday from 10 to 12. See you then.